So, Petrosian played queen d5, and now he has total central control with 3 of the 4 central squares occupied by his pieces. And I've mentioned central control a lot, so I'd like to expand a bit about its importance. When pieces are placed in the center of the board, they're at their strongest, because they have the ability to move to any other part of the board easily if they need to. And this not only makes progress by the opponent very difficult, but it makes it much easier to attack, as you can maneuver your pieces much more effectively than your opponent can defend. Controlling the center is kind of like having the high ground in hand-to-hand combat. And in the position before us now, Petrosian will make the center as secure as he can for himself, and thus he will dominate all of the board. And it's noticeable in this game that the play now moves to the flanks, which is logical, seeing as they're weaker because all of the play is happening in the center. And the instructive element of Petrosian's play is how his central control also enables him to dominate the play down the flanks of the board. Despite being the exchange down, his far superior position allows him to create weaknesses and, in the process, get his material back with interest. So, the game continued. Rook e3, and knight f5, rook e1. If queen takes d5 here, c takes d5. The knight has to move because it's threatened by the pawn, and the rook is also hanging, and in any continuation the endgame is winning for black easily. So after rook e1, knight d4, which is offering a repetition of position, or it might have just been Petrosian trying to get some more time on the clock. And if white accepts this repetition, say for example with rook e3, then one continuation is knight f5, and rook e1 and bishop d4, and knight g3, knight takes h4, rook to e7 check, king takes a6, queen d3 check, b5, a takes b5, king b6, queen e4, queen takes e4, rook takes e4, g5 is to protect the knight, b takes c6, and king takes c6. If the castle ever takes this bishop, then there's a fork from the knight, winning the rook. But anyway, this position would probably lead to a draw, and a better chance at winning would be after rook e1 at this stage with queen takes d1, and after rook takes d1, king takes a6. White's queen side has collapsed, and black should be able to march these pawns up the board. But Duckstein avoided the move repetition, and he played queen d3 after knight d4, which really carries no threats, and so allows black time to consolidate his center and gain some tempo with f5, forcing the knight to move. And it has to go to g5, which, you know, it's the only move to stop the threat of knight to f3 check, which would be winning. For example, if it goes to c3 instead, then knight f3 check wins the queen. And even if the queen takes on f3, after queen takes f3, rook takes c5, there's 2 pieces against the queen, but the knight's hanging. So knight g5 is forced, and it's a poor square already for the knight to be on. In particular, it has absolutely no influence on the queen side, and Petrosian was quick to take advantage of this with c5, again consolidating his center. And then came rook e3, c4, attacking the queen, queen d1, king takes a6, finally the pawn falls, and white played rook a3, which is a random move really, but due to black's central control there isn't much constructive things that white can do. Other moves are worse. For example, knight e6, trying to exploit the pin of this knight against the queen, would lose to f4. Like if queen takes e6, then f4 is strong for white. After queen d5, f takes e5. So knight e6, and then f4 is winning for black. After knight takes d4, f takes e3, f takes e3, and queen e4 is winning easily. So rook a3 is, well, like I said, a random kind of move, but this is nothing for him due to Petrosian's central control. He now played bishop f6, and after h3 played f4, and Duckstein played queen g4, which is really a final shot at counterplay that Petrosian answers with another idea that was very typical of him, as using his king effectively with king a5. It's getting his king into the queen side, which is safe, and he was very good at using his king imaginatively and aggressively when it was safe. So Duckstein played knight f3, then Petrosian played king b4, attacking the rook, and Duckstein played knight takes d4, offering the exchange back in order to try and contest Petrosian's central control. But after king takes a3, knight c2 check, king takes a4, Duckstein resigned, because Petrosian is 2 pawns up, and what's more, they're connected past pawns, and so it's a completely lost position for white with very little chance of counterplay. So that's it, a brilliant game from Petrosian. I'll replay it with the threatened squares highlighted just so you can see it from start to finish. All of his tactics just work brilliantly. His early provocative play and his trademark exchange sacrifice was just brilliant. But the most instructive thing about the whole game is his central control, and that game surely showed the importance of central control and just the way that you can completely dictate the whole order of the game when you control the center. It's a very important thing to remember when you're playing, and especially that move there, a5, which is a famous move. It's in many a textbook on chess theory and how to play chess well or defend well and that kind of thing. But that's what he was famous for, Petrosian, defense. And look at his king there, there's absolutely no way into that. And there's his central control. It's completely dominating. And white just gets completely bereft of decent moves. There's nothing he can do. Petrosian just has absolute control. It's a brilliant game. Very instructive. And that's it. So it was a brilliant defensive game with all the hallmarks of the ex-road sweeper and soon to be world champion, Tigran Petrosian. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.